So hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to discuss about the Java database connectivity. So how we can make your database connectivity using Java programs, right? Okay. So Java is a programming language, right? And what a database you are going to make the database connectivity or relational database management systems. So relational database management systems can understand only one uh, language called as a what structure query language, right? Where Java is a what is a object oriented programming. So to make the to establish the connections or the communication between the Java application and database, you require to make use of JDBC API. So JDBC APIs can provide you set of classes and interfaces through which we can make the database connectivity in a application, right? Okay. So what are the things you required first, right? So to make a database connectivity, you required set of the applications. So first you required Eclipse. First you required Eclipse, right? Second is you required MySQL server. And to make the database connectivity between Java application and MySQL server, you require one bridge. That bridge is nothing but MySQL connectors, right? So MySQL connector is ready to available on vendor side. I mean to select say MySQL server.org, right? So whatever your underlying database version, the respective MySQL connector is available to download, right? So you can free to use, right? Throughout the life, right? So first of all, what you require? You require first install Eclipse, right? Or any IDE. Not only say Eclipse, you can use any IDE. You can use NetBeans, you can use VS Code, right? But now I'm going to use in my machine Eclipse, right? So you required first Eclipse, you required MySQL server, and third is what you required to download MySQL connectors, right? So now all the parts are available with me, right? So let's start and understand how we can make the database connectivity using Java programs, right? Okay. So I have already start my Eclipse part, right? Okay, and I have already get into the my workspace area. So workspace is nothing but your working directory where you are going to create a JDBC programs, right? Okay. So how we can create a program? So just go to the file, inside the new options. So there is a other option, right? So click on others. In others, just type from your keyboard Java project, right? So select the Java project, click the next. So now it will prompting to you one screen where you are going to give your project name, right? Okay, so here you just simply type the project name. So for example, I said here example one, example one. Now there is no need to change any kind of the options, right? But yeah, I'll explain you what exactly your underlying GRE. So my underlying GRE is a what? Java SE17, right? You can also change it like say use project specific. Even you can also change your GRE version. If you want to change your GRE version, you can change it, no problem. But currently it's a 17 version, so I keep it remain same. So I'm not going to change anything else, right? Okay. Now click the next. The moment you click the next, it will open another screen, right? Where you have some set of option like say library, project, source, order and export, and module dependencies. So here also we don't require to make any kind of the changes. Now what is your default output folder? My default output folder is a example one slash bin, which is a default one given to you. Here also we don't require to change any kind of the folder as well. So click the finish. The moment you click the finish, it will create a new project. Say no over here. So click no. Now it will create a new project. It will create a new project. Let me show you guys. So this is exactly your project. This is simple Java project. So now this Java project has the default folder which is my runtime environment, right? I have the one more folder called as a what? Source folder. Source folder, right? Okay. Now If I want to make database connectivity, so first of all, what I need to do? I need to attach MySQL connector to my project. So to connect MySQL connector with the project, just select the project, right click, right? And there is a option called as what? Build path. Now select the build path. Inside the build path, we have say configured build path, right? Select it. Go to the library. In a library, all the options, all the buttons are disabled. So what do I need to do? I need to choose module path. The moment you select the module path, all the buttons are enabled, right? So first what I need to do? First I need to attach my MySQL connector jar file with my project, right? Okay. So now select the module path, click on add additional jar file, choose the path where exactly your jar file. So my jar file is there in my C drive. Now just select the C drive. In C drive itself, there is a MySQL connectors, right? Okay. So select it, click the open. The moment you click the open, the jar file is available over here. Along with jar file, it also provides you path. So what exactly my current path? My current path is a C drive. Once this is done, then go to the apply and close, right? So once you applied and close, now it Java project itself, that means what, Eclipse itself can create a one folder called as a what, reference library, right? If you are going to action the reference library, there you will get the your jar file with your path, with your path, right? Okay. Now the next step is what? Right? Once your connector is successfully attached to the project, now next step is what? Go to the module info.java file. Now before going to move into the module info.java file, I just go and change the font size. So click the preferences, select the font and color, click the basic. Inside the basic, there is an option called as our text font. In a text font, you just go click on edit. In edit, you just go and choose the font size. So once you select the font size as a 18, now your editor has 18 point font size. Now just click apply and close. Now just go to the next steps. So first step is what? To connect the MySQL connector to the project, right? Okay. Now what is my next step? My next step is go to the module info.java file. The moment you open the module info.java file, see module info.java file basically used for to add the any global packages. So now what exactly package I need to add over here? I need to add here. So requires, right, java.sql. So once you add this project, now you are able to use the Java, you are able to do the Java database connectivity, right? Okay. Now once this is done, your third step is what? To go to the source folder. Go to the source folder. See here I can directly add my class file. Go to the new and class. But this is not good programming practice, because by default whenever you are going to add a class, it is going to be added to the default package. So what I used to do was I'm just go and create a select the source folder, select the new. In a new option, there is a option called as a what, package, right? I'll just go and create a package. Now here I'm going to keep the package name is say com.jdbc.component. I'm going to create the name as a package com.jdbc.component. This is what my package name. Inside the package name, I can create n number of classes. Once this is done, then you will get the com.jdbc.component package. Now here you can add your class. So just go to the new, and now here I'm going to create a class, right? The moment you select the class, it will prompting to you what is the name of the class. So now here you can specify the name of the class. So for example, here I said as a JDBC example 1. What name I am going to give? The name is a what? JDBC example 1, right? Okay. Now whenever we are going to add a class, you always add a class with public static void main. So select the public static void main, right? Select the finish state. So the moment you click the finish, you will be having one structure, right? The structure just look like a Java project. Just look like a Java project, right? Okay. Now, once you have added a class, right? Now, what you can do, you can use the, first of all, you require to import the package. So import java.sql, java.sql. So java.sql dot start. So the moment you say that dot start, that means for all the classes of JDBC APIs and interfaces are available in your program. Once this is done, then you start to make the connections, right? So to make the connection, to make the database connectivity, you require to follow certain steps. What are the steps, right? So first of all, you have to load a driver. First of all, you require to load a driver. Second is a what? You need to create a database connection. So to create a database connection, what you require? You require first of all DB database URL, then relational user on MySQL server. So you require username and then you require password. Once you create a database connection, what is your next step? Your next step is what? Create a statement, right? So statement is nothing but any SQL commands. So through the statement, what we can do, we can execute any SQL commands. You can execute DDL command, DML command, DQL command, any command you can execute using the statement, right? Okay. And the last is a what? Generate, generate a result, right? And once your result is being generated, your last step is what? Close a connection. So these are the some basic steps which you require to carry it out to make the simple database connectivity with the database. So we are going to follow one by one, right? Okay. So I'll just remove this part, right? Now, whenever you are going to execute, right, JDBC connectivity code or any single line Java code, you always enclose with the try and catch block. That's a base practice. So catch, right? So the, the parent class called as a what exceptions, right? So any exception is happened, I'm just going to show the message like say error, right? And the exception class object will provide you one inbuilt method called a what? Get message, right? Okay. So as I said, right? So what exactly you require first? So first of all, you require to load a driver. To load a driver, or we can say to register a driver. So in Java database connectivity, there are two ways to register a driver. One is you can use the class.for name, right? And next is our driver manager dot register driver method. So driver manager is a main components of JDBC API through which we can make the further steps of the database connectivity. So driver manager class, right, is a main class or the key components of our Java database connectivity, which will provide you uh, register driver method is a static method. In that static method, you can pass the driver class. You can pass the driver class, right? Okay. So first of all, I am going to use first method, right? So first method is what? Class dot, right? The moment you say the class dot, it will return to you for name method. So these are some for name method. This for name is a overload method, right? So you can supply the parameter according to your requirement. So I'm going to choose the first method, that is for name, right? And this for name can accept the string parameter. So now in this particular, I'm going to pass com dot mysql dot cj dot jdbc dot driver class. So this statement is used to register a driver, right? So first step is what? Registered a driver, right? Now, what is my next steps? My next step is to make the connection, to create a connection. So to create a connection, you have to use driver manager class. So driver manager class can provide you get connection method. So in a get connection method, what you require to do? You require to supply your string URL. You can supply the string URL, right? So to make the database connectivity with any underlying database, so every database, right, there are their own specification. There are their own specification. Say for example, if I am going to connect myself with the MySQL server, then there is a specification. That specification you require to follow whenever you are going to make the database connectivity. Same for like say for example, if it is a Oracle database, then there is a their own specification. If it is a SQL server, then there is a their own specification. So for every database connectivity, we require to follow some principles. That principle is nothing but what exactly connection URL, right? Okay. So now this connection, that get connection is a method, and get connection method will return to you connection object. Connection object. So what I'll do here now, this get connection method didn't do me the connection object, so I said as a connections, right? Con is equal to driver manager dot get connection. Now in a get connection, you can supply three parameters, right? Three parameters, right? I'm just putting here three parameters. Now, what is your first parameter? Your first parameter is what? Database URL. What is your database URL? So now here I'm going to make my database connectivity with MySQL server, right? So for making a database connectivity with MySQL server, what you require to do? You require to say the JDBC dot JDBC colon MySQL colon double slash localhost, because I'm going to connect my database connectivity with local database. So every the database there is a one location. The location may be like say local database, maybe like say for example remote database. Even in a remote database, the database may be lying in your network. That means what? Maybe like say you may have a database server, then you require to use database connections of your local server, right? If it is a remote database, another part maybe like say for example your database lying on cloud, right? Any cloud. It may be like say for example Amazon Web Services, maybe like say GCP, Google Cloud provider, maybe like say for example Microsoft Azure, right? So for every cloud provider, they have their own, the specification. That specification is nothing but on which particular IP address your database is currently running. So this particular IP address you have to specify, right, in a connection string. But in my program, I am going to connect my database connectivity with localhost. So I use a localhost. Now, apart from the local host, you have to use port number, because every MySQL server or every database instance is running on some specific port number. Specific port number, right? Okay, so Oracle is running on 1421, right? Same as SQL Server is running on some specific port number, right? They have their own user credential, right? Okay, so by default, SQL Server, MySQL Server running on 3306 port number, right? Okay. Then you have to specify the database name, what database name you are going to use. So first of all, you have to know what database you are going to connect, and for database name, you have to connect with your MySQL server and you have to ensure what database you are going to connect. If database is not there in MySQL server, you have to create your own database. You have to create your own database, and that database you can specify over here. Okay, so in my machine there is a world database which is ready to available, right? So I use the world database. Along with this you have to supply the secure socket layer settings. So why do we need secure socket layer settings? Because we are going to use Java platform, and we are going to make database connectivity with other party platform, so to make the right bridge between the Java application and MySQL server, what I need to do, I need to set one property called as a what? Use SSL equal to false. By default, it is a true. By default, it is a true. So what I need to do, I need to ignore the warning message. I have to use SSL is equal to false. Once this is done, then your next step is what? You require to supply username. So what is the default username in MySQL server? The default username is a root, right? Okay. And the password I said is a password. So I have added, right, at the time of installing a MySQL server, I specified my password is a password. Password is a password. Now this is simply make the database connections, right? Okay. Now please, before going to step ahead, right? First, ensure your database connection is established with the underlying database or not, right? So what I'll do, I'll just go with the, just for my understanding and your understanding, I said as a connection is successful. Save the code, right? And just right click and runs one. Just right click, run, and there is a option run Java application. Just select the Java application. Okay. So now my connection is successful. My connection is successful. So once your connection is successful, now you can execute, you can follow the remaining steps, right? Okay. So what is my first steps? So this is what second steps. Create a connection with the MySQL server. Now what is your third steps? Create a statement. So to create a statement, you have to follow the same hierarchy. So if I want to create a statement, I have to use a connection object, right? So now I have said connection object. Now based on connection object, I am going to create statement, right? So to call a create statement, right? So this create statement is a method of connection object, and this method will return to you statement object. So what I need to do, I need to choose create statement, and at left hand side, what I have to do, I have to say the statement and then give the name of the statement variable, right? So now here I have created statement interface. So now once you create a statement interface, right? So now next is what, right? To construct a SQL statement, right? Okay. So before going to execute, right? Statement, first what I need to do, I need to create a statement, any SQL commands. And now this SQL command I need to bind with the statement interface. Statement interface, right? Okay. So what I'll do over here, I'll just go and right. So now here I'm going to create a one variable like a string SQL is equal to, I'm going to construct the statement like select star from EMP. Select star from EMP. So just think about it. Okay, I have a world database. In world database, I'm having table called as a what? EMP. So which statement I'm going to execute? I'm going to execute select star from EMP. Now this statement I want to get execute. I want to get execute, right? Okay. So statement interface can provide you basic three methods which we are going to use frequently in a database operation. One is a execute query, second is a execute update, and third is a what? Execute. These three methods we are going to frequently use for any database operation using Java application, right? Okay. So now what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to use select star from EMP. That means I'm going to get execute and it will return to me some set of data from EMP table, right? So now here what I need to do, I need to execute a query. I need to execute a query, right? Okay. So to execute a query, what I need to do, I need to use statement object. So statement object dot execute query. So now what execute query accept? So execute query is a function That function can accept one valid SQL command, one valid SQL command, and this execute query function will return to you result object, right? So what I'll do, I'll just go and choose a execute query method and I'm passing SQL statement. But this execute query function will return to you result set object. So what I have to do, I have to specify here result set and say the result is equal to statement dot execute query, right? Okay. So execute query is a function of statement interface, right? And this execute query function return to you result set object. So will return to you result set object. See, this result set object is nothing but is a temporary result set, and this is the result about the select star from BMP, right? Okay, and this result set can hold the information about the employee, right? Okay. So by default, whenever you are going to access the result set, so by default, your mouse pointer at the top of the result set, at the top of the result set. Now, before going to render, right, the records from result set object, I have to ensure whether the result set contain record or not, right? Okay. So for that, what I'll do, I'll just go and iterate the result set object. So to iterate the results object, I have to use while loop. So I use a while loop and I'm using here result dot there is a one method called as a what next method. What next method will return to you? Next method will return to you boolean type, boolean data. That means it will return true or this or false. It will return to you true or false. If result set can contain records, then next function will return to you true. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use while result set dot next is a one sentinel conditions, right? And I'm putting one loop. I'm putting one loop. So this loop will continue unless and until result set dot next method will return to you false. So now result set can contain what? Right? Result set can contain the data about the employee table. Data about the employee table. Right? Now I would like to read the data from result set object. Result set object. Right? Okay. So to iterate the result set object, I need constant database connection. I need constant database connection because this particular result set belongs to connected family. It is belongs to connected family. And for every connected family, what you require? You require constant connection with the database. Constant connection. So here my connection is already open, right? Okay. So that means my connection is live. So now I'm able to access the data from result set object, right? Okay. So now from result set, you can access right data either passing index. That index is nothing but whatever your column index, or you can access data from result set you by passing column name. There are two ways, guys. There are two ways, right? Okay. Now before going to access data from result set, you have to ensure what are exactly corresponding data type of accessed columns or respective columns, right? So what are the column you are going to access from result set, right? First of all, you have to ensure the data type of the requested column, right? Say for example, I'm going to display one column. So to display something on console, I have to use system.out.println, right? So here I have the result object. So result, right? Dot. Now result set object can provide you so many get method. So get is a method, along with there are some specific type of the method is there, like say get integer, get string, get date, get double, get boolean, right? So now every get integer or say get string method, right, can be used with the specific columns, right? Okay. So now say for example, in a result set object, okay, there is a employee table. Now employee table has columns, and every column there is a corresponding data type, corresponding data type. So for example, in an employee table, the first column is a employee number, and this employee number is belongs to integer. in a database, right, the column is belongs to number. So what I have to do, I have to use here int function. So use the get int function if you want to access employee number, right? Now when you are going to call get int or any method, whether it's a get string or say whether it's a get double or say get boolean, any the corresponding type of the method, if you are going to use, right, you will get the two overload method. One is get int and you can supply the column index, and second is what, if you are aware with the structure of the database table, then you can directly specify the column label. So column label is nothing but name of the column. Say for example, I'm going to access get in, and here I'm specifying the one. So one means what? Whatever the first column in a database table is going to be rendered over here. But please ensure before going to specify the index, you have to know the corresponding data type of the column. Okay, fine. Now say for example, I would like to display another column. I would like to display another column. So I'm just specifying this slash t. This is simple tab, right? And I'm using another column. I'm using another column. The column name is a, say for example, result dot. I'm accessing second column. So my second column is a what? Ename. So I'm going to use get string because ename always be in a string form, in a string format. So what I have to do? I have to use string. Now instead of the index, right? I can access my second column using the by passing second index. But here instead of this, what I want to do, I want to access using name, and I know the name of the column is a ename. The name of the column is a name, right? So you can specify whatever the columns are there in your database table. You can display all the columns. But right now I'm going to access only two columns, right? Right? And now this particular loop will continue unless until result dot next will return to you false. So if next return true, that means what? The result set can contain the records. So once your iteration part is done, right? So very next step is what? You can close every open resources. So we have open, right, some set of resources, like say we have open connections, statement, result set, right? So what we will do, we are carrying the some traditional step. First we will do the connection, then statement, and based on statement I'm going to create a result set object. So when you are going to close the object, because of result set is also one object, statement is also one object, connection is also object, and these are all live right now. So what I need to do, I need to close one by one. So I just go with the right down to top. So result dot close. So you can call the close. So the moment you call the close, that means your result set is completely closed from memory, right? So result dot close, I said as a html dot close. Then you can call connection dot close, right? You can also close connection because of connection is a what? Super object. Okay, because of why I'm saying super object, because of based on connections we are going to statement. Now based on statement we are going to create result set object. So if I'm going to remove, if I'm going to close connection object, that means what? All child objects are going to be removed from memory. So there are two ways, guys. Either you can directly close the connection. So once you close the connection object, then it will remove all child object which are dependent on connections. Which are dependent on connections. Because my results depends on statement and statement depends on connection. So if I'm going to close a connection object, that means it will remove all child threads or all child object, I can say, right? So once this is done, then you just go and run the project, right? So right click, run as Java application. So the moment you run the Java application, right, it will display all the data from employee table. This is the data from employee table, right? So data are coming through the result set object, right? Okay, Fine. And it will take the one by one record from result set object and will return to you data unless and until result dot next becomes a what? False. Right? So let's understand again, right? So what are the things you required as we discussed so far, guys? You required Eclipse ID, you require MySQL server, and there must be a one database. The database, there must be a one table, and we require to make the bridge between the Java application and database. We require to download MySQL connectors. Once you download the MySQL connector, then you just go and right click the project. There is a options called as a what? Build path. In a build path, we have a configure build path. The moment you click on configure build path, there is an option called as a what? Library. In a library, you just go and select the module path. In module path, right? So now buttons are available and you can add a external jar file. So this jar file is nothing but MySQL connectors. Once you add it, just go and apply and close. Now the jar file is available in reference libraries. Once it is available, then go to the module info.java file. In module info.java file, you have to first require the java.sql. Once this is done, then you guys go to the source folder. In a source folder, first create a package. Inside the package, you can create a one class, right? Okay. Once you create a class, you will be having one structure, right? Okay. And before going to make database connectivity, what I need to do? I need to import a package, java.sql.star, right? Once you add this, then you can wrap off your traditional steps commands. So what is your traditional steps command? First of all, you require to register a driver. Then you require to create a connection using driver manager.get connections. Now, once connection is established with the database, then your next step is to create a statement based on connection object, right? Once your statement being created successfully, so now based on statement object, what you can do? You can execute a query. Here we have the three method, guys. We have the execute query, execute update, and update only, right? And all this method can be used for a specific purpose. So if I want to generate result set and if I'm going to get execute select command only, then I have to use execute query. Because execute query generate the result set. Once the result set generated, then you require to iterate it. So to iterate the result set object, what you have to do? You require to first put a while loop. So while result dot next, right? So next is a method, it is just simply go and check whether the result set can contain record or not. If result set can contain record, then enter in the loop. And now here you can display the what are the data that you want to render. Now to rendering a data, it is not necessary to choose the sequential columns. That means you have to follow the sequence of the database structure. You can pick any column from result set object. But you have to ensure exactly what columns you are going to access and what exactly corresponding data type of the column, right? So you have to you have to call specific method to render the output of the column. So here I use the get in because of I'm going to access the first column and the first column is my number data type. Okay. Now instead of second index here, if you are aware with the structure, then you can directly specify the name of the column. So once you iterate it, right? So now your next step is what? To close the connections. Because this result set object is belong to connected family. And connected family means what? Your connection must be live whenever you are going to access data through the result set object. So now your connection is open, right? So what I need to do once my work being done, then my next step is to close the connections. See, this is the one of the method result set dot close, statement dot close, and connection dot close, right? Okay, this is what the which we are going to follow. Instead, you can also follow the connection dot close. It will automatically remove the all child object from connections, right? So, I hope you understand exactly how you can make the simple database connectivity, right? Using JDBC, right? So for JDBC connectivity, we require certain steps to follow to carried out the database connectivity. I hope you understand with the simple examples, right? We'll catch you later on, right? With more examples and more, the connectivity part. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching.